when you get to the pricing part, what a lot of people experience is this feeling of dread, right? You start feeling like your heart rate increase, right? You get that kind of fight or fight response a little bit, maybe even a little bit of like an adrenaline dump. Some people start getting sweaty and flushed. And if you're one of those people, I feel you. Like even I used to feel that way sometimes. Hey guys, welcome back to the Nico Misla podcast. It is I, Nico Misla, coming at you live today from my beautiful home office. And today we're going to talk about pricing, but more so discussing pricing with our patients, right? So this episode is especially for those of you who are clinic owners, or maybe you work in a clinic that offers hormone replacement therapy, and it's like a cash-based private pay clinic. And so what I'm talking about here is this topic that comes up over and over and over again. I see it in the Facebook group, I see it in the private HRTU community, which is like, how do we discuss pricing with our patients when it comes down to that point in especially like the initial consultation, where we've gone through this whole rigmarole of showing people how amazing hormone replacement therapy is and what it's going to do for them and so on and so forth. And then we get to pricing. By the way, for those of you who are in the HRT University ecosystem, right? So if you've purchased the master course and you're a member, like a private HRT University member, if you're in the membership, I have like an hour-long video where I literally, myself and Leslie, my amazing teammate from Apollo, we literally go through like a mock patient initial consultation from beginning to end kind of thing. And it's really great. People really have loved that. I've got a lot of really good responses from that. So I'm going to take that whole initial consultation, and right now I'm just going to zoom way in on the actual point where it gets to pricing. And I kind of just want to talk through this with you because I need you to understand a couple of things. So first and foremost, please understand, especially if you are a nurse or really any kind of medical provider at all, I don't care if you're a doctor or a PA or whatever, most of us are not born salesmen or saleswomen. In fact, that is a very, very, very rare skill set, I think. It is something that is usually innate, and especially for some personality types, right? So if you lean a little bit more introverted, or you're maybe a little bit more reserved or shy or whatever, you're probably not going to be the most amazing salesperson in the whole world. Whereas if you're the opposite, if you're really outgoing and extrovert and all that stuff, sales might come a little easier to you. But nonetheless, usually what I find is that the personality type that most often lands in the healthcare industry, and especially becoming a provider, is one of someone who loves to serve, right? Someone who loves to help, someone who loves to be of great value to others and to guide others to a place of health and wellness, right? So that's something that is rather innate to most of us who are providers. Now, here's the tricky part. And I know you all know this, like we don't get a business 101 class or any type of business class in schooling, right? Especially if you're, again, going through a kind of more medical healthcare route. This stuff is not taught in schools, and it's because the system doesn't require it. If you're going to be a nurse practitioner, an MD or PA or whatever, I mean, you're largely going to breeze through school, learn all the STEM stuff that you need to, biology and chemistry and all the math and all that stuff. And you're going to end up in a hospital system or an outpatient clinic that it doesn't freaking require you to, first of all, market, get patients in the door, and then have to sell to those patients. Everything's being done for you on that front. Arguably, this is one of the most attractive reasons why providers end up in these systems in the first place, right? We just want to help. We just want to be able to do our jobs and sign the bottom of the page and move on and clock in and clock out kind of thing. All of a sudden that changes dramatically when you go from, hey, you know what, I'm done being a W-2 or working for somebody else. Maybe I want to strike out on my own. Fantastic. I want to open my own clinic and all that sorts of stuff. Look, most people do that because, right, they're sick of like HR breathing down their necks about, fulfilling their quotas and the whole insurance game and all that stuff, right? So what I find is, again, a lot of providers, they're leaving a broken system to some degree, to a lot of degree, when it comes to like quote unquote sick care medicine, and moving into wellness medicine. Fantastic. You're going to rock when it comes to taking care of patients. That's what you're good at. That's what you were born to do, right? That feeling deep inside of like, I can be of great value and service to others. But then there's this part that I think gets glossed over. I think, frankly, a lot of providers just either ignore it willfully or purposefully to some degree. But it's the part that is essentially sales and discussing money, discussing pricing, discussing costs with patients. It almost feels like, oh, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let me tell you something. If you are planning on opening a clinic or wanting to open a clinic, maybe you already have, and this is speaking to you already, please pay attention, okay? Because this podcast episode is literally made for you. For those of you who don't know me maybe that well, you should know I'm a very outgoing person for the most part. I really am. Pretty extroverted, I would say. I love being around people. I get energized when I'm around people. I love talking to different people. I don't have a hard time talking to people. That's a huge win for me. Okay. I recognize that, thank God, literally, that he blessed me with this ability to gab. That being said, I'm not incredibly confrontational. I don't necessarily like talking money, especially when I first started in business. That was not something I really liked to discuss. And so I struggled, believe me, I struggled quite a lot when it came to talking about how much things are going to cost, the price of things with my patients. And I learned a lot of things over the years in terms of the best way to kind of approach these areas. Okay. So number one, remember that when it comes down to the wire, okay, let's say we've gotten through our initial consultation. We've crushed that, because you're going to crush that. I know you are. I know who you are. You're going to present all these amazing options for your patients when it comes to wellness medicine. I think hormone replacement therapy probably being the number one. Things like GLP-1s and different peptides and things like that. Amazing. You're going to crush that. If you're an HRTU alum, you're going to be just a killer when it comes to teaching and educating and prescribing amazing modalities and therapeutics for patients. When you get to the pricing part, what a lot of people experience is this feeling of dread, right? You start feeling like your heart rate increase, right? You get that kind of fight or fight response a little bit, maybe even a little bit of like an adrenaline dump. Some people start getting sweaty and flushed. And if you're one of those people, I feel you. Like, even I used to feel that way sometimes. But I think the best way to initially start changing that is by changing the way we think about discussing costs and prices and things like that. And so let me rewind a little bit here. You have to recognize that what you're doing is an unbelievable service and an unbelievable opportunity. You're providing an opportunity that maybe has never been provided to the patient sitting across from you before, which is a change in paradigm, a change in the way we're going to approach health and wellness and even disease, right? That is so amazing. That is so amazing. And you're one of one when it comes to that. I'm talking to you, are one of one when it comes to changing that person's life. Okay? Believe that. You have to know that. I hope you know that. I would hope you know that deep down within your heart and soul. And if you don't know that, let me tell you, that is true. Okay. You then have to recognize that when it comes to pricing and stuff, we don't have to make it feel like it's this other thing. Okay. It's a part of the entire conversation. Okay. So think about the word holistic. right? Not in the chakra and beads and crystals and rain dance kind of way. Think about holistic as what it really implies, which is the whole, the entirety, the essence of what I'm doing. Okay. And the price is a part of that. Okay. It's inescapable. So we want to make that bleed into the consultation itself. Okay. Meaning, let's not make this a whole separate thing. I think the best providers, those who do really well and amass a lot of patients, that this conversation point doesn't feel awkward. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It starts feeling more like a obligation. Okay, so let me tell you like the mindset, the reframe maybe we should have around this, rather than having the feeling of, oh, I hope I'm not hurting this person's feelings, or I hope that this isn't too expensive, or I've heard people say, well, I can't believe you would charge that much money for someone who's in desperate need of help and things of that nature. Let go of that. Okay, you have to let go of that. That's not helpful. They don't know what they're talking about. Truly, those people, they have things going on in their lives, and they probably need hormone replacement therapy, and they can't imagine spending that kind of money. That's okay. We're not talking to those people. We're talking to the patient who's across from us. And that patient, again, has gone through all these arduous things, right? They've suffered probably for a long time. They've seen many different providers. They've gotten very few answers, if not any, right? They've looked and searched and poked and prodded all kinds of different things. They finally found you. They got their blood work done. They went through this whole rigmarole of getting into your clinic, hoping that their feelings don't get hurt, hoping that you can provide a great solution to their problem. Okay. So remember, you are now obligated. I like to use the word obligated because I think it implies seriously that you have a due diligence to that person sitting across from you to be the very answer to their prayers, if truly you can help them. Okay. So here's number one. Number one, what I'm saying is you are not selling something to someone who does not need that service or thing. That's a gross person, right? If you come to me and you say, Nico, I need help, man. I need help really badly. I've got this bunion on my foot, and it's really painful and sore, and it's killing me. Like it's ruining my life. I can't walk normally, and there's so much pain in my life. It's disrupting my work. It's disrupting my family. Right? Oh wow. Okay. Hey, Amy, how about I give you hormone replacement therapy? Ain't wrong. That is disgusting, right? We all know hormone replacement therapy is incredible. It's not going to fix a gnarly bunion or corn on a foot. Okay, that's crazy. What would I do? Hey, Amy, thank you so much for trusting me and looking into this. I'll tell you, HRT is amazing. And here's the things that it's amazing for. And if any of the things are a problem for you, trust me, we can help. But it seems like the biggest pain point in your life literally is your foot. And I'll tell you, a podiatrist is probably the person you want to see, and let me help guide you to that person. Okay. That person, that patient does not need my services. Clearly, I'm not going to offer them to her. You know why? Because it's gross, and it's going to make her feel terrible when she realizes she spent all this money on something that's really not the answer to her prayers. Okay? You're not doing that. Like 99.9% of the time, the patients who are coming to you are coming to you for a reason. And that reason is they need hormone replacement therapy or weight loss medicine or whatever it is you're doing. And you are going to provide that solution. So that should be a pretty quick thing. If all the pain points align with your services, you can get rid of all those pain points, and you feel very confident in that. Of course, we're not magicians, right? We can't just like magically know for sure it's going to work. But like, you have low libido, you decrease motivation, your weight gain, your decreased recovery. Of course, TRT is going to be great. There's no question in my mind. I know I can help you, and I can even show you objectively in your labs that this is going to be helpful. Okay. So we already know that we're not being gross. We're not selling something to someone that doesn't need that thing. Okay. So already that should put you at ease. That should put you at ease. You are not a used car salesman selling, freaking snake oil. Okay. Like that's not what you're doing. You're not selling a lemon to someone. And if you are doing that, stop doing that, please. So we can get over that part. Great. Your shoulders should relax over that, knowing that I am not selling something that I don't know deep down in my heart and soul that's going to help someone. Honestly, guys, this is the best part of being in wellness medicine, of providing hormone replacement therapy. I sleep like a baby at night, okay, because I know how powerful this stuff is. And it's not just based on my opinions, it's based on the literature, for God's sake, okay? Amazing, fantastic. The next part to this whole equation then needs to be a reframing of what is it about pricing, about the cost of something that scares you to say out loud. And almost always it's this paradoxical thing we again kind of are initiated into as medical providers. On one hand, we are seen in our community and in our culture as healers, as an authority figure, whether you like that or not. It is true, and I think that's awesome. I mean, it's a revered thing in our society to be a medical provider. There's a lot of trust in those authority figures, and by the way, there's been a lot of loss in that trust in authority figures. There's a lot of questioning going on. That's why a lot of patients are coming to us, right? And maybe not someone else in more the conventional side of things, because they've lost a lot of trust in some of those 3-letter agencies and institutions over the last several years. And so again, there's a little bit of trust stuff going on there and what have you. But again, what we're really looking at here is why do you, the provider, feel weird? Why does it feel awkward or like why does it feel maybe kind of gross to you still when you have to talk about pricing? Well, a lot of that has to come from the fact that you've never had to do this before. Okay. This is not like, think about every industry in the world, practically speaking, right? If I go and buy a computer, someone had to sell it to me somehow. Now, it could have been through an ad, through Amazon, whatever, read some reviews, looked at some of the specs, right? But it's a sale nonetheless. Let's say I'm buying something more expensive, like a car. Someone has to sell that car to me. It's very rare that I can just literally purchase a car without interacting with someone. If it gets even more expensive, let's say I'm buying a plane, right? There's always going to be that person who is selling that product to me. And by the way, we don't find that necessarily offensive, right? That's like a natural thing that occurs. What's weird is that has kind of been hidden when it comes to medicine. Okay, so there are different camps, right? I've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. There is a camp that believes that for some reason medicine should be 100% free somehow. Okay, and I'm not going to get into the politics of that. I'm just saying, like, let's think about this as like an umbrella thing. Like somehow all medicine should be free. Period. End of story. And somehow we should be able to support that. Now, realistically, that's interesting, but we all know if you're a business owner, especially, there ain't no such thing as free, ever. Someone's paying for it somewhere. Okay. All the equipment, if you go for a surgery, like, do they need to be bazillion dollars? Probably not, but just understand there are people that are required to be in the OR. There are medical equipment that breaks down. There are tools that can only be used once, right? There's a lot of costs when it comes to medical care. Again, I'm not saying that it needs to be 30 times higher than what it really is, but again, that's just the way the cookies crumbled so far. But at the end of the day, this third party, which is insurance in a lot of ways, has found a way to mask a lot of this, right? Where we spend money on health insurance, and that's just a societal norm. Well, that could be through our job, it could be taken out of our paychecks. Again, a lot of us aren't really paying attention to that. We're so busy with our lives and our families and our kids. we don't recognize that hundreds of dollars a month are being pulled away from our paychecks, or we're literally spending that money. And it has the feeling of, now this is quote unquote free medicine. It's not free medicine. We're paying an insurance provider, and most of us are not using it very often, if at all, unless you're really sick. And so we're paying maybe thousands of dollars a year for a service that we may not use a whole lot. But when we go and see our doctor, and then we only have to maybe, have a $25 copay, or maybe no pay at all, it feels like it's free, right? It feels great. If you end up in an emergency room and you have to pay a whole bunch of money, but then insurance comes in and now it's a little bit less money, again, it feels good, but deep down you're still spending money, right? If you have a high deductible, right? It's crazy. Like, I'm spending thousands of dollars a year, and then if I get injured, I now owe up to $10,000, right? Until my insurance kicks in. Anyways, I don't need to go on and on about this. It's a racket, guys. It's a total racket. But it gives this illusion of free medicine, I think. So that's a personal opinion, but I believe it gives an illusion of that. And so, again, when I'm a patient and I'm seeing a provider in a conventional setting, and I'm not literally handing them hundreds of dollars after the appointment, it feels like these guys are just doing God's work. But they're getting paid. They're getting paid by these huge insurance companies. They're getting paid a lot. I mean, they're getting paid a good amount of money. They work hard, but trust me, they're getting paid a lot of money to do what they're doing. So again, there's no such thing as free, and you're, as a provider, still getting paid at the end of the day, even if the illusion is free. Now, all of a sudden, if I take that illusion away and I make it, in fact, transparent, and say, hey, you know how you go to your doctor's office and you're never sure how much anything costs, and there's co-pays and this and that, but you spend money on insurance and the whole thing's a racket? Well, guess what? I'm going to take that barrier, that illusion, that mask away, and I'm going to show you how much it costs. Okay. I'm not going to fiddle with anything. I'm going to show you how much it costs. And now, it might not be a line item thing. Maybe it's a membership type of thing, right? Where, look, I cannot account for the amount of times you as a patient may reach out to me to ask me questions, and maybe you've got some problems I need to resolve rather quickly. And so I'm also going to build that into my services. I'm not going to hide that from you. It's going to be whatever, $200 a month. And with that, I'm going to provide all these other different services. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be wonderful if you always knew the cost of something, and you always knew what exactly was included with what you're paying for? I love that personally. Again, I love that. I love knowing exactly what I'm paying for and what I'm not paying for. If the value is there, if I notice a great return on that investment, I'm all in. I love the idea of that, right? It's the same way I pay for my Costco membership every year. I don't bat an eye over it. I really don't. I never think about it. In fact, I think about how wonderful their service is, how easy it is to get in and out of there for the most part. Even on the busiest of days, they always seem to be really efficient. They have great options. I sound like I'm making a Costco ad. Their organic options, my friends, if you have not been to a Costco recently, fantastic, incredible. They have beef tallow now. Like, how cool is that, right? Instead of the crappy seed oils, they have great organic selections of fruits and veggies. Again. Like, I love giving money to Costco. I really do. I love it. I am happy to provide Costco money. And if they raise their prices on the membership, I'm happy to go along with that, because the service and value that they provide to me and my family is fantastic. Okay. That's just who I am. Now, there are many people who are not Costco members. In fact, there are more people who are not Costco members than who are Costco members. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Okay. Outside of the ones that they live maybe 2 hours away from the closest Costco. Why do you think that there are less people who are Costco members than there are people who are Costco members? One reason, they don't find it valuable. And why don't they find it valuable? Maybe they don't care about organic fruits and vegetables. Maybe they don't require bulk things, right? They don't need 500 rolls of toilet paper, right? If you're a single guy, I'll tell you right now, you probably don't need a Costco membership, right? You could probably do just as well at a local grocery store with some organic whatevers. So when a patient is, the reason I'm saying all this is a very long-winded way of saying, when a patient is coming to you, you have to recognize all of these things, okay? There is something deep down inside them that is saying, I don't know why, but I love the idea of this. I love the idea of Nico. I love the idea of Apollo Health Optimization. And I'm curious. I don't know if I'm 100% in yet. I'm pretty close. I just need you, the provider, to help me cross this bridge, right? I'm a little nervous. I need you to hold my hand and tell me everything's going to be okay. So when it comes to bringing up the costs, the price of your services, I want you to think about it more like helping a person cross a bridge, okay? Think about it like, you're at a stoplight and you see a little old lady, and she's got her walker, and she's not very good on her feet, as you can tell, and she's really sweet, and she's scared. There's a lot of traffic, and you're really steady on your feet, and you are happy to help her cross that road, okay? You feel obligated. Like, I hope you feel that way. I think I'll tell you, the people in the HRT University ecosystem, the kindest and most wonderful people I've ever met. I mean that. It's an incredible community of people. And they're the type of people that I know at a crosswalk in that situation, 100% of them would help. 100% of them would go out of their way to make sure that that beautiful woman gets safely across the road. No question. They're not afraid to ask, ma'am, do you need help? How can I help you? Right? If she says, no, I'm okay. Fantastic. You asked, right? I want you to think about it that way when it comes to the conversation of bringing up the price of your services. Okay. This is not a true sales pitch in the sense of like, man, I'm just trying to rake in a whole bunch of money as quickly as I can, and I'll tell her anything she wants to hear, right? Oh, if we get across the street, I'll give you $1,000. That's not what we're talking about here, okay? I'm going to go way back into this conversation. You have, in my opinion, a moral duty and obligation to help that person achieve the best possible health and wellness outcomes imaginable, okay? I believe that you have a God-given talent. That is why you're here. That's why you're listening to this podcast. It's not like some random, like somehow you just found the Nico Missile podcast. Of all the millions of podcasts out there now, you stumbled across this one because you are likely a provider. You are likely someone who is unbelievable, willing to help and provide great value and service to others. And you're looking for the best way to do that. Okay. So when you start reframing that in your mind, and by the way, this is something that I like to do. I like to mentally do this. Right? I like to sit down and maybe close your eyes, or maybe at bedtime, even when things are just quiet. Maybe you've said your prayers and all that kind of stuff and tuck the kids in, and you're just laying there. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to walk yourself through an appointment, okay? With a patient who, like any other patient, needs your help. And you get to that point when pricing comes up. And I want you to breathe. I just want you to take a really nice, deep, big breath. Okay. Relax your shoulders. And I want you to envision that you are a guide. You are helping that beautiful woman get across the street safely. Okay. You don't feel anxious or worried. You don't have time to feel anxious and worried because someone sitting across from you is in desperate need of your help and your service. And by the way, they are willing to pay you for that time and service. This is not a thing that they're all, they're not, this isn't a mandate. Okay. We're not mandating them to do this. We are not. And in fact, I'm going to turn them away from my services. We already talked about that. I'm going to turn them away. I'm going to steer them into a better direction if they don't need me. or my services. Maybe not yet. Maybe they do need it, but they have a bigger problem first needing to be solved. The bunion or corn on their foot needs to be solved. I want them to make sure that they're spending their money on the thing that they need the most, the highest priority. Okay? I want you to walk through that feeling, connect that feeling to the moment you start bringing up pricing. Because if you can connect it in your mind and in your brain to a feeling, right? That is what is going to change your physiology, the physical nature of the entire interaction. Because if we tie the emotion of, I'm afraid to talk about this, I'm nervous to talk about this, I hope that they don't judge me, the person sitting across from me. If we have those emotions always tied to, oh, now I have to bring up the price, the cost of my services, you're always going to feel flushed and hot and sweaty and blushing and blabbing, and you can't spit a word out and your mouth's all dry like mine is now because I don't have a Sampel next to me. How miserable. It's miserable. And by the way, that won't go away. It won't go away until you can replace those thoughts and those feelings and connect them to something that is true. Okay, so here's the other point. I've made this point already. It is true. You are the person that the patient sitting across from you needs in their life right in this very moment, whether they actually go through with your services or not. Okay, whether they actually require your services or not, you are the person that they need the most. Because I know who you are. You're a great person. You're a lovely person. And I believe truly that God has put you in that person's life to steer them in the right direction better than anyone ever has in their entire life. Okay. So now you have this moral duty. You have this moral obligation and duty to do the very best always, every single day for yourself and for others. Okay. And when you can now connect the feeling of I am desperately wanting to help this person sitting across from me achieve the best possible outcomes that they can get, and just envision the feeling of what it would feel like when that patient. Here's another great thing. Think about the outcomes. Okay. Envision, again, when your eyes are closed, think about the outcomes when that patient, maybe a week or two later, this poor woman who hasn't slept in 5 years, she's anxious every night. She has racing thoughts. And in fact, when she wakes up, those racing thoughts, it's like they never went away. The insomnia, the feeling, the prayers she's probably made to please help me go to sleep because she's in menopause and she has no more progesterone anymore. Imagine the text message or whatever message you'll get through your system, your messaging system, when she texts you and says, Nico, I just want you to know that I have slept all the way through the night for the first time in 5 years, and I don't feel anxious anymore. And the power that has in that person's life, because we all know what one bad night of sleep will do to us as human beings and our mentality and our psychology and our physiology. Imagine 5 years of that. And then you come in and boom, all of a sudden it's gone. You are literally providing this woman a new lease on life. Imagine that text message. Imagine the feeling that you're going to have when you receive that message. How wonderful, how exciting, how happy, how joyous, how awesome is that? Okay? Those are the things that I want you to start focusing on. Okay, so we talk about reframing, right? We don't think of this as a sale. We think of this as a due diligence. I think about this as a part of the entire conversation, which is hormone replacement therapy is amazing. Here are all the incredible things it's going to do. And here's how you can achieve that, right? The price is nothing. It's irrelevant to that person. Let me specify that, okay? Because I actually don't always love when I hear that from a salesman, right? The price is irrelevant as long as it meets your, well, no, that's not true. If it's $1 million and I just don't have $1 million, it's kind of relevant. What we're implying when we say the price is irrelevant as long as it solves your pain point is, look, this isn't priced to a point in which it's literally unachievable. It's not. It really isn't. Okay, we all know that people spend lots of money on things, money that they probably really don't have on things that they really don't need. So what I'm implying here is that as long as I can solve your pain points, the reason you came to see me, the price is the price, okay? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal because once I help you sleep at bedtime all through the night and I can provide excellent care, I can help you lose 20 or 30 pounds. I can help you regain your energy. I can help you regain your focus and your memory. I can prevent chronic diseases, right? By maybe 40 to 50%. It can reduce your all-cause mortality. I can help you feel like a human being again. There's not it's priceless. It really is. That's why patients are willing to pay for this stuff. And it's you and your services. You are special. You are one of one. Okay? There are many other places patients can go if they need something that is quote unquote cheaper. Okay? I'm not disparaging that. That's fine. There are patients who may go to somewhere else that's more expensive. It's a value thing at the end of the day. Do they value it? Do they value Costco so much that they're willing to pay? Again, Costco could, I hope no one is from Costco is listening to this, but Costco could raise that membership price fairly significantly. And I'm telling you, Sherelle and I, my wife, we're going to pay for it because we love the quality of stuff that we get from there. We love the experience. Very rare that you go to a grocery store and you enjoy the experience. I kind of enjoy the experience. I love all the new stuff. I don't know. I'm a dork for Costco. And they have Sandpel, they have these 24 or 30 packs for super cheap. It's kind of like Natty Light back in the day. Anyways, I digress. I hope this is helpful, guys, because again, what I hope you're taking away from this is a lot of your problems are coming from up here. The thing between your two ears. A lot of it is just a reframing thing. Reframe and connect different emotions and different feelings, anchor those things to what is true. Experience those on your own before you're sitting across from a patient, because when you're sitting across from a patient, it's very difficult to orient yourself quickly to those feelings. Okay. You're just going to get sent right back. It's like, I got bit by a dog. It was a terrible injury. My right thumb. I'll tell you about it someday. Horrible injury. Very, very, very painful. Very scary. As a pit bull attacked me, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, huge thing. I'm very nervous around dogs. I am. I never used to be. I was the guy, pit bull come up, I pet him and all. Oh, wonderful. I love dogs. I'm much more skittish around dogs. And I notice when I see a dog, my heart rate comes up a little bit. Right? Especially if it's off the leash or something like that. Oh boy. If it's a golden retriever, I'm not really that nervous. But if it's a strong, aggressive looking type of dog, I get a little nervous. But one of the things that has helped me get over that is connecting different feelings and emotions to those situations, right? Connecting, I'm safe, I'm okay. These are very rare instances of dog bites and things like that. I can do things in which I can protect myself or try to stay away from situations like that. Anyways, that has helped me tremendously, anchoring a feeling of safety and security, anchoring a feeling of this is something I do a lot. And again, this might get a little esoteric here, but it's helped me tremendously as a human being. I know that I am here for a reason. I know that deep down. I don't always know exactly the journey that I'm going to take, but I know that I'm here for a reason. I know that reason is to help as many people as I possibly can. Okay. And I believe that, I really do. I believe that God is doing something extraordinary all the time. And I don't know what that is, but I hope that I can follow that thing. And whatever comes of it, comes of it. But I know that I'm safe and I'm secure, and that as long as I'm leading with my heart and loving people and trying to provide them the best possible version of myself so that they can also be the best possible versions of themselves, it's like things can't go wrong. And so again, when I walk into these conversations, and I noticed this with my own teammates at Apollo, my clinic. Honestly, I didn't really teach them sales a lot. The people I found, Leslie and Rachel, if you ever get the chance to meet them, like one of our live events, they were there last year. They'll be here this coming year in September. More on that later. They are lovely people. If you just met them, they're really wonderful people. And I, when I interview people, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for love and heart, and those intangible things that just, it's not going to look very good on a resume, but you know it when you see it or when you feel it. And I felt it with those two, and I'll tell you, they just crush the sales part every single time. With new patients, old, it doesn't matter. They're really, really good. I was almost surprised, but the more I thought about it, the more I recognized these ladies, they believe in what they're doing. They know that it's right, and they want to help. They desperately want to help people. They want people to join them in being the best versions of themselves. And so the whole conversation, and look, I'm not saying it's easy, okay? It's not, it doesn't have to be easy, but it doesn't have to be something that chokes you, right? And makes you sputter and blah, 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 all that kinds of stuff. And you'll grow into it. You will over time. You'll get better and better and better. You'll develop a little spiel or speech or something like that. But in the meantime, as long as you can start reframing things and connecting better emotions and recognizing that the outcomes that you're going to hear from these patients. I feel so much better. I'm so thankful for you. Like, wow, what an amazing, I'm so grateful for that. That's why I got into this, right? I mean, not to, be like, oh, I'm so great and I'm so awesome. But mostly the feeling of like, wow, I'm so glad this person is better. I'm so glad that they were able to trust and bare their heart to me and their vulnerability and trust in me. And I'm so glad I could reciprocate that amount of trust and respect and love. Right. So, all right, my friends, I think that's enough of that. I'm so thankful for you listening. I hope this is helpful. I know a lot of this stuff feels probably a little more esoteric than like the bullet point, here are the 5 ways to help, make a sale. But it's because I believe it, and I know it to be true, and I know it to be helpful. And the best providers I've ever met are the ones who seem to exemplify these qualities. So again, I hope this is helpful. For those of you who are new, remember, you can, of course, listen to me on the podcast here. You can watch on YouTube. It's the Nico Misla podcast. Also, don't forget to check out my daily email. If you go to Nico Misla NP, like nurse practitioner, NicoMislaNP.com, you can sign up for my newsletter. It's also linked in the show notes. So if you look below here, you'll click on that, and you can sign up for my emails. It's a lot like listening to the podcast, but you're just reading them. They're shorter, they're sweet, and there's no BS or spam or crap in there ever. It's just good old-fashioned education and information to help you grow and love and learn HRT. And then I also have a great Facebook community. It's called Nico's HRT University. Again, it's on Facebook. It's free. You can join in there as long as you're a prescriber and a provider. We would love to have you there to learn more about HRT University and all the wonderful people that exist in this ecosystem. So thank you all very much, and I look forward to seeing you at the next episode.